Hey there, folks. I'd like to give you a warm welcome back to a new series of The Joy of Digital Painting with me, Bobbo Ross. In each episode, I'll take you through how to take some of nature's beautiful masterpieces and plagiarize the shit out of them. So I'll tell you what, let's get right to it. Let's have them run all the colors along the screen so you know what we're working with. We've got Pthalo Green, Pthalo Blue, Prussian Blue, Dark Sienna, Van Dyke Brown, alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, Titanium White. I don't know why it needs a descriptor in front of the word white. I mean, there's only one shade of white, and it's white, and a whole bunch of other shit. And you can get all of these colors from Resine, the place where you get paints from. And now we've got that sponsorship shit out of the way. Let's just flush all these colors away. We don't need them. It's 2019. We've got a color picker. Now, let's get started. So, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to find our painting. Think of this like you're an explorer traveling through the wilderness. We're just throwing down some shapes and trying to find a basic composition to work with. This is the part of painting where we play silly buggers and have some fun. Now that we've got some shapes down, it's time to try and find the overall shape of our painting. I find it helpful to try and think of what I might discover out there in the wilderness. Will I find a waterfall with a beautiful rainbow? Will I find a serene lake with mountains in the background? Will I find a pig farmer who's secretly tending to his weed crop? This is your world, and anything is possible. I've decided what I'd like to paint, so I'm going to go for it. First, we're going to paint in the sky. I'm going to take some blue, bring the saturation down a bit, and just start dabbing it into the canvas. And once we've defined the background, we'll move forward into the foreground and start putting some life in there. Now, we're going to separate the values. We're going to have quite a bright background, quite a dark foreground, and that helps put some depth in the painting. And don't worry too much right now about what the actual shapes represent. We're going to fill those in as we go. A scribble might become a mountain. A little circle might become a big circle. This is your world. So you may have noticed that we're jumping around a lot here, and that's how I like to paint. I like to jump from one part of the painting to the other just to keep my mind busy and fresh. Another technique we use when we're painting is flipping the canvas backwards and forwards. So many times I've been painting something, maybe a landscape or a handsome face, and it's not till I'm halfway through the painting that I realize that this handsome face I've been painting actually looks kind of like a slapped ass, and I have to start the whole thing again. But flipping the canvas keeps our eyes fresh and helps us see those mistakes before they become too big. Now here we go, we're going to put in some trees. A lot of people are asking me, are they happy trees? And I tell them I don't bloody know. I'm not a tree whisperer. They could be really over the moon about something. They could be in the pits of severe clinical depression. Who really knows? All I know is they're photosynthesizing, and that's good enough for me. So what we're seeing here is one of the beautiful things about painting. When I first started this image, I thought it would be in the desert somewhere, out somewhere near the equator where it's warm and it's dry, and what I've actually decided is fuck it. We're gonna make it in the snow. And I can do this because it's my world that I'm creating, and in our world, anything is possible. Just like in your world that you create, anything is possible. And I get letters from people, and it's a little bit annoying. People write in and they say, hey, can you draw this? Can you draw that? And I have to write back and I say no, because it's my world. And I can't believe people are still doing it, actually, because they just write in and they say, can you draw a happy house? Can you draw a magical landscape? No, John, John, listen, you've been producing this show for 12 years now, okay? Every day you're handing me letters trying to tell me what I should paint. It's my show, okay? It's not John digital, it's Bobbo Ross digital painting, joy with digital painting, and you're like, oh, It's like the old days. You've got to beat the devil out of the brush, John. And I'm like, no, it's a Wacom tablet. These styluses are $50 each. I beat the devil out of this, tap it on the table a bit, now it's broken. Do you want to buy me new frickin' styluses, John? No, I didn't think so. It's not. Now, a key part of creating a painting that feels cohesive is having shapes that repeat throughout the image. So what we're going to do, we're going to take one of these trees and repeat it much, much larger within this big circle. And this is going to be your bravery test for this image. So, get a big brush, rotate it a bit, flatten it out, get some of that green on there, and then just go for it. And with a few deft strokes of our brush, we've created a massive frickin' tree. Why is it there? Who knows? It's not really important, and we can figure that out later. So for the water of our lake to look like water, we're going to need to add some reflections in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to color pick the color of those trees, and with my pen pressure set to transfer, I'm just going to pull down from the water beneath the trees, just pulling down gently to create those nice vertical reflections. And one thing we always want to think about is, what story are we trying to tell here? You know, what's the history of this place? What's happening there now? And what's happened there in the past? Now remember those random lines I told you about earlier? Shazam, we're going to turn them into something. Let's take that dark shape in the background and just fill it in as a mountain. And what we do to give those mountains some depth is add a little bit of atmosphere at the bottom. So they're lighter at the bottom than they are at the top, and that helps create that depth that you get in real life. Now I'm thinking about the story of this tree, this massive tree that we've got contained within this circle. And I'm thinking that this tree is actually getting energy from the circle. The circle's pumping electricity or power or magical energy into the tree like some kind of, some kind of science fiction shit. And this is causing the tree to grow so huge and mighty as it is. And we don't have to explain why this is happening. Sometimes mystery's good. It helps people engage with the painting. It helps them create their own stories about what's going on. And now it's time for the finishing few touches. We're going to go into the foreground and brighten that up a little bit so it's not just a flat sheet of darkness. We're going to add some platforms in there. We're going to add some areas where the light's hitting it. Because remember, there's light coming from everywhere. Even if the sun isn't directly shining on something, the blue of the sky, the grey of the clouds, it's all adding a little bit of ambient light that's going to bring some extra life to your image if you pay attention to that. And with that, I think we're finished. I hope you've learned a lot. Send in your paintings, add them to a comment down below so I can see the beautiful images you create. And as always, God bless, my friend.